You know that feeling, like you wake up and you're already behind schedule, your mind's racing, the to-do list feels endless before you've even had coffee.
Oh, absolutely. It feels like the default setting for so many people now.
Right. We're living in this incredibly fast, loud world. It feels like a constant storm of choices, distractions, deadlines, digital noise.
And it pushes us on autopilot. Just
Hmm.
reacting all day long.
Exactly. Not really living with any sense of, well, purpose. You end up feeling exhausted, stretched thin, maybe a bit lost about where you're actually going.
That feeling,
Mm.
that's precisely what Steven Cesari tackles in his book Clarity. He argues that this feeling, this chaos, it stems from a deep lack of clarity.
Okay.
And today we're going to dive deep into his framework. It's pitched as a really powerful tool against that very chaos.
So this isn't just theory then, it's practical.
Very practical.
Yeah.
The whole idea is to give you a proven way to cut through all that mental noise, get back in sync with your values, and find, real focus.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to help you listening, sharpen your direction, maybe build a life strategy that actually works.
Yeah, the goal is to eliminate that internal static, find alignment, and gain focus, to live with more confidence, more peace, more purpose.
Which should lead to better decisions, better habits, better outcomes overall.
Exactly. And Cesare makes the point that this applies whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader, a student, really anyone feeling stuck or just wanting to make a bigger impact. If you're chasing a dream, this is relevant.
Okay, so let's really unpack that feeling of being stuck. Why do we feel that way so often?
Well, Cesare argues that without clarity, life just becomes chaotic,
Yeah.
confusing, exhausting. He uses this great analogy. He's like driving through thick fog with no headlights.
You're moving, but you have no idea where you're going.
Precisely. It's you keep pushing forward, hoping you stumble onto something meaningful, but usually you just burn out.
Ah, the burnout. That constant movement without real direction, like running on a treadmill, going nowhere fast.
Right. And Cesare makes this really sharp point. He says most people don't lack motivation, they lack meaning. It's not about more hustle.
It's about more alignment.
Yes. And that alignment, he insists, comes directly, fundamentally, from clarity.
Why does lack of clarity make things so chaotic, though? Is it just about not having goals?
It's deeper than that. Cesare talks about how your brain filters information. The reticular activating system, or RAS. Without clear goals or values, the RAS doesn't know what to prioritize.
So everything seems urgent, every email, every notification.
Exactly. It's on high alert for everything. You become completely reactive. Your calendar might be jam-packed, but there's this underlying emptiness because your actions aren't connected to what truly matters to you.
That emptiness, yeah, that really resonates. Chasing things that look good on paper, maybe, but feel wrong inside.
That's the signal. But clarity changes the game. It reconnects you to your core, your values, your vision, your purpose. Operate from that place.
And everything shifts. Decisions get easier, you feel more grounded.
Grounded, yes. You move with direction, you make choices with confidence, and you find real peace, not just that temporary buzz of productivity.
So what's the first step? If you're feeling that chaos, where do you even begin?
It sounds counterintuitive in our busy world, but Cesare says the bravest, most crucial first step is simply to pause.
Just
Stop. Create some stillness. Because stillness creates the space you need for insight. When you stop reacting for a moment and actually reflect,
you gain perspective.
you do. You start to see that maybe some of the stress isn't just external circumstances piling on. A lot of it comes from your own choices, made without clarity.
So you're not actually stuck, you're just unclear.
Precisely. And that pause is your chance to ask the big questions. What am I really chasing here? And maybe more importantly, why am I chasing it?
Okay, that makes sense. So let's dig into the foundations Cesare lays out. The first big one seems to be vision.
Absolutely. Vision is the bedrock. Cesare says, quite simply, every meaningful journey has to start with a destination in mind. Without that, any movement is just wasted energy.
Spinning your wheels again.
Exactly. Vision gives your energy direction. It turns random motion into real momentum.
But is vision just about setting big goals, like I want to earn X amount or I want that promotion?
Cesare pushes beyond that. He says a powerful vision isn't just about what you want to achieve. It's fundamentally about who you want to become.
Okay, deeper.
Much deeper. It's about reflecting on your truest desires, your core values, really imagining your ideal life emotionally, spiritually, materially, in detail.
And there's a reason for that detail.
Yeah, the neuroscience is fascinating. Your mind literally gravitates towards the images you feed it consistently. A fuzzy vision keeps your brain searching vaguely. A sharp, clear one helps it zero in on relevant opportunities.
Right, that RAS system again.
Exactly. It tunes into what matches the picture you've given it.
So how do you actually do that? How do you craft this compelling vision?
First step, according to Cesari,
Mhm.
quiet. You need to step away from the daily noise, the digital deluge. Find a peaceful spot. Truly disconnect. Then grab a pen and paper and ask yourself, if nothing held me back, no fear, no limits, no judgment, what would my ideal life look like? What impact would I make?
And just write.
Write freely. Don't censor yourself. Pour it all out. Then step back and look at what you wrote. What values, what beliefs are shining through in that ideal picture?
Okay. And once you have this vision, how does it help day to day?
It becomes this incredibly powerful filter. Suddenly, decisions get simpler. For every opportunity or request that comes your way, you have a clear benchmark.
You can ask, does this move me closer or further away?
Precisely. Does this align with the life I'm building, or is it just a distraction? This alone eliminates so much wasted time and energy. It shifts your focus from being pulled everywhere to making meaningful progress.
Cesari also mentions stretching yourself with the vision.
Yeah, he says it should feel slightly out of reach, almost a little uncomfortable. Because that stretch is where the growth happens. It awakens your potential. Don't play it too safe.
And keep looking at it.
Definitely. Revisit it regularly. As you grow, your vision might evolve too. And sharing it with someone you trust, that adds accountability. It helps move it from just an idea in your head to a real direction for your life. These are energy meaning.
Okay, vision is the destination. What's the next piece?
The next pillar is core values. The Cesari uses a brilliant analogy here. Imagine trying to navigate a completely unfamiliar city. No map, no GPS.
Lost. Completely lost.
That's life without clear values, he argues. Your values are those fundamental truths that guide everything, how you live, work, love, lead. They're your internal compass, your personal North Star.
And if you don't have that compass,
Life becomes reactive. You drift, maybe into jobs that pay the bills, but, suck the life out of you, or relationships that feel off, misaligned.
I can see that.
But when your values are clear and you put them at the center, everything shifts. Decisions are easier, time feels more focused, stress goes down because your life has authentic meaning. It's not just nice to have, it's crucial for peace and impact.
So how do you figure out what your core values are? It sounds a bit abstract.
Cesari offers practical steps. Reflect on times you felt really alive, truly proud. What principles were you honoring in those moments?
Okay, like peak experiences.
Yeah. And conversely, think about times you felt uncomfortable, unsettled, maybe even ashamed. What value is being violated then? Those strong emotional reactions are massive clues.
Right, so identify maybe the top 5?
Top 5 or so, yes.
Sure.
But don't just list words like honesty or freedom. Define them. What does freedom mean specifically to you? Freedom of time, expression, financial freedom.
Specificity is key.
Specificity brings power. It makes a value actionable, helps it cut through the noise, and guide real choices.
But knowing your values is one thing, living them is another, right? Especially under pressure.
That's the discipline Cesari talks about. It's easy when things are calm, much harder when faced with a tough choice or temptation. But here's the thing. Every single time you choose to honor your values, especially when it's hard.
You build self-trust.
Exactly. You prove to yourself that your principles matter more than convenience or external approval. That builds deep, unshakable confidence, rooted in integrity.
And it gives you permission to opt out.
Yes, to stop chasing everything everyone else seems to be chasing. You don't need to keep up. When your calendar actually reflects your values, you find peace. When your goals reflect your values, you find real fulfillment.
Okay, so we have vision, we have values. How does this translate into daily life? Managing the day-to-day chaos.
This is where Cesari gets really practical. He dedicates a huge chunk of the book to the daily practices that build and sustain clarity. Because it's not just a concept, right? It's lived.
It's built through habits.
Precisely. Habits are, as he puts it, the invisible architecture of your character. And small actions, repeated daily, create massive results over time.
So what are some key habits for clarity?
Reflection is huge. That intentional pause we talked about earlier. Making it a regular habit. Checking in. Are my actions aligned with my vision, my values, journaling, meditation, even just 5 minutes of quiet?
And prioritization.
Ruthless prioritization. You simply cannot do everything. Clarity demands deciding what matters most and then fiercely protecting the time and energy for that. which means getting really good at saying no with intention.
That's a tough one for many people.
It is, but it's essential. But Cesari also emphasizes mindset. Your mindset is the lens you see everything through. A clear mindset supports clear living.
Like the growth mindset.
Exactly. Believing you can improve, seeing challenges as puzzles, not roadblocks, that frees you from fear. Also, resilience, bouncing back without losing your purpose. And gratitude.
Gratitude comes up a lot.
Because it works. It literally rewires your brain to focus on abundance, on possibility. That naturally clears away mental fog and negativity.
And all this needs protection, right? Which brings us to boundary.
Yes, boundaries are the essential guardrails. They protect your time, your energy, your mental space, ultimately your clarity. It starts with self-awareness, knowing your limits, your needs, your values.
And then communicating them.
Clearly, calmly, assertively. Whether it's digital boundaries, tuning off notifications, limiting screen time or emotional ones or professional ones, saying no isn't selfish. Cesari frames it as a strategic act of self-respect. It protects your inner world so you can bring your best self forward.
It seems like all these pieces, vision, values, habits, mindset, boundaries, they all work together.
They absolutely do. They build on each other to create this state of alignment. And that alignment leads us to the ultimate expression Cesari talks about, legacy.
Legacy? That sounds big. Is that just for famous people?
Not at all. He argues legacy is for everyone. It's the footprint you leave. It's not about wealth or fame necessarily, but about the impact you create, the lives you touch, the values you pass down.
So it's taking your personal vision and turning it outward.
Exactly. Outward and forward. Connecting your purpose to something beyond yourself, to future generations.
How do you consciously build a legacy like that?
It starts, again, with your values. Your integrity, lived consistently, becomes your inheritance to others. It takes courage making choices today that serve a longer-term vision, even if they require sacrifice now.
And relationships seem key here too.
Hugely important. Investing deeply in people, mentoring, encouraging, empowering. That's the fabric of your legacy, and it all comes down to intention today, living each moment infused with purpose.
So it reframes success, not just climbing the ladder, but
Impacting deeply. It's about the wisdom you share, the kindness you show, the courage you inspire in others. Cesari concludes that the greatest legacy is simply a life fully lived in clarity, purpose, simplicity, and alignment.
wow, that's a powerful way to think about it.
It really is. It brings everything together.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the main takeaway seems to be that clarity isn't something you just find one day.
Definitely not. It's a practice, a lifelong commitment, really. You cultivate it through intentional choices, mindful actions, and that constant alignment with your true self.
And you have to keep renewing it, right?
Yeah,
As life changes.
absolutely. Checking in, realigning. But the payoff is huge. Living with clarity means leading yourself well, making decisions rooted in purpose, not just pressure, experiencing real peace.
It silences that inner chaos, builds confidence.
And ultimately, the clearer your mind, the stronger your impact on the world. The Cesari's framework gives you those practical tools: managing thoughts, sharpening focus, mastering energy, cultivating gratitude, living with integrity.
They all work together. Small daily actions adding up.
That's the engine of transformation. Consistency.
So for everyone listening, we really encourage you to reflect on these ideas, maybe revisit the parts that resonated most, and just keep moving forward.
And maybe ask yourself some of those big questions Cesari poses.
Like, what legacy do you want to leave? What story do you want your life to tell? When you're no longer here, what impact will you have made?
Let those questions guide your choices, starting today.
Because remember, the life you truly desire, that life of meaning and purpose, it's built one clear decision at a time.
Your clarity is your compass. Let it guide you, protect you, and empower you, starting now.